One Zambia, one nation. Hello and welcome to Zanis News to present. My name is Henry Himonde. The headlines in our news. Rivungu Shangombo border reopens. UNHCR welcomes Zambia's plan to modernize refugee settlements. Kalabo Town Council disburses funds for construction of health post. And Zambia celebrates International Day of a Girl Child. The news in detail. Zambia and Angola have reopened the Rivungu Shangombo border crossing point after being closed for 2 years due to COVID-19. The closure of the border was part of the two governments' measure to combat the pandemic. Kasweka Sakaimbo now reports.
For continued trade and foreign exchange, the Zambian and Angolan border post has been reopened. The border post was closed 2 years ago after COVID-19 pandemic. The two governments are optimistic that the reopening of the border will enhance development and trade between the two countries. Shangombo Acting District Commissioner Nsakanya Changwe, during the reopening event held in Rivungu, Angola, emphasized the government's stance on enhanced bilateral relations between the two countries.
I want to assure your government that the Republic of Zambia, led by His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, been more than ready to keep on cooperating with the Angolan government. The borders we have at the moment are artificial borders. We are one people, and therefore we should concentrate on enhancing the development objectives that are existing between our two countries.
Kwande Kubangu Province Governor Jose Martinez says there's a need for enhanced collaborations between Zambia and Angola to eradicate illegal activities between the two countries.
What
we're asking to our people and to our friends, Zambian friends, like Shangombo, the necessity of good cooperation with our police authorities. Every illegal thing that the law doesn't allow, we can cooperate so that we ban this thing. They can't pass here in our border.
Residents from the two countries could not hide their joy.
What we need here, our friends may not be lucky there. So the opening of the border actually, it increases trade between the two countries. If only this river can be bridged.
So the opening of the border is very important for us as Angolans, as we know that the border was only closed for the Angolan side. But we understand that we have been losing a lot of things.
Despite the lack of industries and good road networks in the two border towns, the reopening of the border, if implemented well, can be a key tool to enhance development and trade between Zambia and Angola. Kasuka Sakaimbo reporting for Zanis, Rivungu District, Kwande Kubangu Province, Angola.
In Northwestern Province, government has empowered 2 clubs with 2 solar-powered egg incubators in Mfumbwe District. This is in an effort to address the challenges that the clubs have been facing in hatching eggs. Here's a report.
Kamisombo Winter Women's Club and the Chilem OVC Club in Mfumbwe District have each received an egg incubator from the Department of Livestock. The incubators are meant to alleviate the challenges that the clubs are facing in hatching eggs produced by the chickens they received under the Enhanced Smallholder Livestock Investment Program. District Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator Bonazulu explains the objective of the program.
So this is a government program spearheaded by the government of the Republic of Zambia through a project that we call Enhanced Smallholder Livestock Investment Program. So the target is to empower women. 60% target is the women, 20% is the youths, and the other 20% is a mix, meaning the youths, the women, and the men.
District Administrative Officer Agripa Chitambala has urged the club members to work extra hard.
And as government, we are proud of you. Let's keep on working hard. Let's work as what we raise a lot of money or we improve our livelihood so that the money that we can have, we can buy uniforms and books for the children.
Beneficiaries are thankful to government for the gesture.
Nahani kusakwira chinji kulia kwa mama yeswe hakuhasa kutambula mashini wazi hatunena kuli government alioze tunaka kwa kuyanda twakashire kumona chize mtu hasa kukwani kuhasa kukwasanya nashikola alioze kumona ono mashini kutwana kusakwira chinji.
Just like any other part of the country, the government's effort of empowering women and other clubs is also being noticed among people of Mfumbo district. Patson Mlaisho for Zanis in Mfumbo district, Northwestern province.
The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, has disclosed that it will hold a private sector symposium on October 13, 2022 to focus on increasing private sector participation in the fight against corruption. ACC Director General Gilbert Piri has explained that efforts against corrupt practices have been concentrated on the public sector, neglecting the fact that the private sector is part of the corruption equation. Mr. Piri told Zanis that private entities are the ones that bid for tenders to provide goods and services to the public sector, hence the engagement. The symposium will be held under the theme Preventing Corruption Through Private Sector Participation.
Corruption is costly because what happens is if there's a demand of a bribe and the company is required to pay a bribe, that cost is passed on to the consumers. What then that means is that the cost when you go to the shop to buy something or to get a service, that bribe is factored in. So you are paying more because of a few selfish individuals. And the key drivers is the private sector. These are the key drivers. So if we address this problem here, there's no one who's going to be paying a bribe to the public service and inflating pricing. We therefore think, and we have no doubt whatsoever, that the cost of doing business will reduce. In the end, it's the poor Zambians that are going to benefit. Because you see, the poor have no negotiating ability when it comes to corruption. They are poor, they do not have the money. But if we address the drivers of corruption, we reduce the cost of doing business, the cascade effect on the common man in the street, the proverbial common man in the street, is that he's better off. Now, if we do not address the drivers of corruption, especially we do not handle the private sector, we are killing the nation. So we think that we are at that stage as a nation where time has come to interact, and the private sector itself is going to generate propositions that will ensure that corruption is reduced and the cost of doing business is reduced. It's also good for the private sector and ultimately good for the government.
We continue with Zanis News. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, has welcomed Zambia's plan of modernizing refugee settlements using the modernization of refugee settlements approach. Mr. Gandhi, who was responding to Zambia's statement at the ongoing 73rd session of the Executive Committee of High Commissioners in Geneva, says it is important for Zambia to study new approaches to modernize the settlements. Chipili Makasa reports from Geneva.
The United Nations Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, has welcomed Zambia's plan of modernizing refugee settlements. Mr. Grandi was responding to Zambia's statement at the ongoing 73rd session of the Executive Committee of the High Commissioners in Geneva.
I agree with you that it is important to study new approaches. You mentioned one regarding settlement that I think is interesting. Look forward to further discussions with your country in that respect. I think it is important when we talk about camps and settlements not to lose sight that the best option, of course, is inclusion and openness. So maybe a concept of open settlements is really what we need to work upon, like in other countries, like in Uganda, but in your own country as well. This is already existing, but making them more attractive, more developed, I think this is the purpose of your initiative.
Earlier, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jacob Mwimbu, in a statement read on his behalf by the ministry's permanent secretary, Dickson Matembo, said modernizing refugee settlements will attract displaced persons from other nations.
I'm pleased to inform Chairperson that the government will be embarking on a revolutionizing refugee protection in Zambia using the modernization of refugee settlements approach called Morasa. This will attract displaced persons from other nations such as Ukraine to seek asylum in Zambia, for which we shall need to support from the donor communities.
Chipiri Makasa, Zanis, Geneva.
In business news, government has called on local entrepreneurs to utilize investment opportunities in order to harness the different natural resources found across the country. Ministers of Commerce and Agriculture said this during the ongoing Western Province Tourism Trade and Investment Expo, which started yesterday. Mangala Kapandula has the rest of the story.
Government has called on the citizenry to get involved in investment opportunities that lie in different parts of the country. Speaking during the ongoing Western Province Expo, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipo Kamulenga, says Zambians need to embrace each other and focus on local investment by tapping into the natural resources the country is endowed with.
That's the people that are poor, but we are going to change the narrative of how business should be done in Southern Province, in Western Province. I heard His Excellency the President when he said, we need to be liberal. We need to liberalize how we do business. We need to attract investment from people from other different regions, from Northern Province, from Muchinga, from Southern, to come and invest even here, to work collectively with our brothers and sisters here in Western Province. There is rice, there are cashew nuts.
And Minister of Agriculture, Mutolo Piri, says apart from growing rice, Western Province needs to tap into growing wheat and sugarcane because of the vast water resources.
So as we look at the farmer input support program, which we are looking at now, turning into general and agro support program, a bit more comprehensive, we will be looking at what type of seed should we be giving to Western Province? What type of fertilizers should we be giving to Western Province? Shouldn't we add, tree crops for the farmers in Western Province? Why force them to grow maize? Maybe here we should be giving our farmers cashew trees. Maybe here we should be giving our farmers seed for wheat. Maybe here we should be giving our farmers, seed for rice, so that they grow that which they traditionally know how to grow and that which is most suited for this land.
One of the local entrepreneurs said he is utilizing the opportunity of natural resources in other provinces by purchasing finishing wood from Kalulushi district on the Copper Belt all the way to Western Province.
To get the timber, it's not easy because I normally get these timbers from Kalulushi. There is timber in Western Province. Now the timber which you can use making the sofas and the timber which you can use making dining suites, making wardrobe, there are different timbers.
For Zanis News, Mwangala Kapandula reporting in Mongo, Western Province.
We now take you to Southern Province, where Choma District Commissioner Sigale Gamela has employed members of the District Development Coordinating Committee, DDCC, to ensure they come up with an implementation plan for the 8th National Development Plan. Mr. Gamela says representatives of stakeholders such as the church, traditional leaders, civil society organizations, and the private sector, among others, should ensure they consult the people in the district before they submit their inputs into the plan. The district commissioner was speaking in Choma when he opened an extraordinary DDCC meeting held to formulate a district implementation plan. And Southern Province Local Government Officer Charleston Hamuliata expressed optimism that the 8th National Development Plan will be successfully implemented.
Planning for national development provides a roadmap towards Zambia's attainment of Vision 2030, which is to become a prosperous middle-income country. Thus, development plans have been formulated covering a period of 5 years. However, implementation has been a challenge owing to a number of factors.
90% of the programs in the implementation plan were at higher level. What did the district do? Absolutely nothing. Provinces and districts were not part of the cost designing. They were just given the costs. There was also disjointed budgeting arrangements due to changes to ministerial portfolios. And because of that, the 7th National Development Plan failed lamentably.
In its quest to fully achieve decentralization, government has now lowered implementation planning for the recently launched 8th National Development Plan to district level. Coupled with increased constituency development fund allocation, this is expected to contribute to successful implementation of the 8th National Development Plan.
But now we are giving you an opportunity to come up with your programs and projects that you can possibly do at your local level. Because that's where the money now for infrastructure development is found and easily gotten. And that's the beauty about the 8th National Development Plan. And we hope this is going to work.
And the district administration does not want anyone left behind in implementation planning.
I call upon nominated members of respective institutions and bodies to ensure that you consult your respective stakeholders in the district before you bring forth your input into this process. Only then will we realize our aspiration to have a district implementation plan that is responsive to the development needs of our people.
Runia Sakala, Zanis, Choma.
And in health news, parents have been urged to ensure that they cooperate with the health officials going round in communities administering the second round of the COVID-19 vaccine. Chipata Clinic Sub-District Health Promotions Coordinator Natali Kapembwa notes that vaccination is the most effective way of controlling the pandemic. Jen Simalumba now gives us this report.
People have continued visiting different health facilities in Lusaka to have themselves vaccinated for the second dose of COVID-19. Through cooperating partners, different interventions have been put in place to help sensitize the community on the advantages of being vaccinated for COVID-19. Setting up COVID-19 static centers, mobile announcements, door-to-door campaigns, and also visiting schools and workplaces are some of the strategies that have been implemented to help sensitize the community.
Okay, so apart from having the static COVID vaccination within the facilities, we are also going in schools where we've engaged the teachers to be mobilizing the pupils. So to those that are 12 years to 17, we're encouraging the teachers to help us distribute the consent forms so that the parents can sign to show that they've allowed their child to be vaccinated. So apart from that, we are also working with the churches. So we've engaged some pastors where we are going, they help us mobilize the churches. Then we speak to them. When the pastors speak to their members, then we go in to vaccinate.
Natali Kapembwa is Chipata Sub-District Health Promotions Officer and gives more details on the strategies they have implemented.
So a word out there to our community is that let's receive these nurses who are going rounds to vaccinate. Let's, for the parents, let's sign the consent forms so that our children can be vaccinated. Remember, COVID is still around us, so let's just ensure that we get vaccinated so that we get protected.
One of the residents from Chipata compound is just from taking the jab.
This is my second dose. Yeah, and I feel it's important for me because I'll be protected from the virus of the same pandemic of COVID-19. And I'm encouraging everyone who is not vaccinated to come for vaccines because it is as important as just what they give children, like polio. Yeah, they do give people that and they don't question.
Jane Simalumba, Zanis in Lusaka.
Still looking at health matters, Kalabo Town Council in Western Province has disbursed 300,000 kwacha for the construction of a health post in Lisumpile Island of Libonda Ward in the Yua constituency. Tine Mbewe has details in the following report.
Lisumpila Island of Libonda Ward
in Liwa constituency of Kalabo district in Western Province, has a population of about 1,000 people. Since time immemorial, people living in here have had to cover distances of about 3 to 4 hours in an effort to access medical services, among others. With the disbursement of Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to a tune of 300,000 kwacha, the struggle will soon be a thing of the past, as the construction of a health post whose progress is currently at 80% is underway.
Kuzwa fasi bakase nekuna niliba kaze peli kone bafumana likalafo ziswanange mulinga fone bakona kuzama libima ze kona kweza zetalu kama mawazi amalalu mane ni kwalibonda kone bakona kuzama mawazi yakona kuba amane.
Kalabo Town Council Secretary Kamata Mpongo, who inspected progress of the project being done by G&B construction companies, said works done so far were impressive, adding that the next phase will cater for a maternity annex, a staff house, and a borehole respectively.
First phase, hoping that next year we are going to do the house and perhaps the maternity annex. As you know, it's very, very important that such facilities are well equipped. We also intend to put up a borehole so that water is available.
Residents of the area spoken to expressed gratitude to the government, stressing that the construction of the health post could not have come at a better time.
Ani butata haulu kwa neku ya spatela. Siulane ni tuwezi mwana kiyo ya izifayo bebio. Ni nyandila hulu. Kwa maternity, kuya kwa maternity kwa kumgonji kwa Kalabo. Kapa famulinga. Ma transporti na alushupanga. Siuluna kwa ya munda kapa faizanga kulimezi.
Tina Mbewe for Zanis News, Kalabo District, Western Province.
A 54-year-old woman of Mehewa refugee settlement in Kalumbira district in northwestern province has allegedly committed suicide after quarreling with her husband over bananas. Northwestern Province Police Commanding Officer Robson Monga confirmed the incident that occurred between 8th and 9th October 2022 in a press statement to Zanis. Mr. Monga says Chilongo Njala reported that his wife Chisola Chipango, aged 54, committed suicide by hanging herself to a tree in the bush using a chitenge material. He says details of the incident are that the deceased's husband on 8th October 2022 at around 15 hours came back from the field and found his wife Chisola Chipango, now deceased, together with their 2 daughters having lunch. He said the wife asked Chilongo Njala why he did not bring with him some bananas from the field as they had earlier agreed. Girls from across the country today joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day of a Girl Child, celebrated under the theme, "Our time is now, our rights, our future." Jonathan Mkuka reports from Chongwe district that the event was held at Margaret Mwachieya Secondary School.
Zambia today joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day of a Girl Child. The event was held at Margaret Mwachieya Secondary School in Chongwe district of Lusaka province under the theme, "Our time is now, our rights, our future." Lusaka Province Minister Shiu Muliata was represented at the event by Chongwe District Commissioner Evans Lopia.
This year's International Day of the Girl Child, like any other day, is of great importance because it comes at a time when we see a lot of young girls facing many hardships despite the continuous strides we are making to improve the welfare of our girl child.
World Vision Zambia National Director John Hanse says his organization remains committed to the fight and protection of children's rights.
Did you know that over 53% of Zambians are under 18? 53% of Zambia are children. High tables. Is their future now? Right? These are the people that we have to be serving. Your time is now. In the next election, many of you are going to be voting for these people behind me, right? You heard that, right?
celebrated Zambian musician Brian Wembia Aka Biflo was at hand not only to spice up the commemoration but also to deliver a positive message to the young people.
The decisions I made when I was in school like yourselves. So what I'm trying to say to you right now is that the decisions that you are making today will affect who you will become tomorrow.
While a girl child, Luyando Hamwinga, delivered a petition to the government on behalf of the young people.
Our families and institutions in society at large have continued to sideline children, especially girls, in terms of participation in decision-making processes on matters that affect us for various reasons. Among them, unfair and discriminatory culture norms that despise girls because of sex, limited platforms and consultations by policymakers when developing policies and laws meant to safeguard girls.
Jonathan Mka reporting for Zanis News in Chongwa District, Lusaka Province.
As we continue with Zanis News, enumeration and final assessment of potential beneficiaries to be included on the social cash transfer program have commenced in Mpongwe District. District Commissioner Barton Mkomba says the electronic data collection of potential social cash transfer beneficiaries will ensure that all vulnerable people are captured on the program. More in the following report.
The enumeration process of potential beneficiaries to be included on the social cash transfer program has commenced in Mpongwe District. So far, staff from the Department of Social Welfare are actively engaged in the data collection and visitation of listed potential beneficiaries. Kasapo Walia is District Social Welfare Officer.
Today, basically, we have just started our enumeration process, which is a process where we are getting data about the households, which data should be used to conduct our PMT, which is a proxy means test, so that the system can estimate the welfare of the households and ultimately select the would-be beneficiaries.
Mpongwe District Commissioner Barton Mkomba took time to get a hands-on experience on the method being used by the enumerators.
This system is very advanced. The electronic system that has been provided by the government is able to be more transparent than anything ever. So it's a good system and that we can support all of us. Basically what the government is doing is in line with the policies that are attached to the promises that were made by the New Dawn government.
The social cash transfer program continues to be a means of mitigating generational poverty and improving livelihoods. Noah Kangali for Zanis in Mpongwe.
And finally, in the news, a 74-year-old man of Mulondoni village in Mumba district in Central Province has appealed to area Member of Parliament Credo Nanjua and other well-wishers to assist him with a wheelchair to ease his mobility. Details in the following report.
For 2 years now, this 74-year-old Liwingi Kachipa of Molodon village in Mumba district of Central Province has been suffering a mobility setback due to stroke which struck him 2 years ago, leaving his left part of the body paralyzed. This is what he has to say.
Na kuyangana mu 2 weeks iyo no change na bana banga kiteso ebintu kapena ku bantu binga kitiki so 2 weeks no change kali kunyamuliwa kwenda ku site kali kunyamuliwa kunileta mu chitomu basi kasako kunyumba basi ni kwamene kupaeli latu mani.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kachipa's son-in-law says both his in-laws have serious health conditions which need serious attention.
Abapongozi banga ni babiri bonse bamuna na bakazi sibalipo nabo nibo dwala bamavimba meka mimba ikadu bakadwala chabe mimba imavimba so ikavimba mimba hapa so sibalipo baenda kudara kwa hospital bapeleka futi bana bao balichabe babiri bamuna beka so aba benangu ndiye bapeleka bamai bene aba benangu ndiye bamene baona bamuna. So,
on the other hand, Mr. Lipanda is calling on the area Member of Parliament, Honorable Credo Nanjua, and other well-wishers to buy his in-laws a wheelchair.
Pempo chabeanga ine nilipamendo zaba Nanjua, our minister, Central Province. Tipempa kuno kwetilili ni Morodon village, then Chief Mumba. Tipempa bananjua kuti mwabatandizirako makolo aba. Bapongozi watu sitisebenza petilili pano kulibe vetichita. Tipempa kuti mwabagulira chabe uche achabe ndiye nipempako chabe pamendo pa aba Nanjua.
Maxton Ngandu reporting for Zanis, Mumbwa, Central Province.
That report brings us to the end of Zanis News, but before we go away, let's take another look at our top stories. Rivungu Shangombo border reopens. UNHCR welcomes Zambia's plans to modernize refugee settlements. Kalabo Town Council has disbursed funds for the construction of a health post. And Zambia has joined the rest of the international community in celebrating International Day of a Girl Child. Thank you so much for watching Zanis News. On behalf of the entire news production crew, my name is Henry Himonde. Remember to join us next time at the same time for another bulletin. For now, it's goodbye.